Yes. Yay. Yes, it's working. It's working. Oh my God. Oh, of course. Mercury is retrograde. What do we expect? Perfect, seamless introductions? I don't think so. Not with Mercury retrograde. Anyway, hello. Oh my goodness, it's so lovely to see all of you. I actually really missed doing this last week, and last Sunday seems like a million years ago. I don't know how anybody else feels, but it just feels like at least 2 or 3 weeks ago. But here we are. And hello, everybody. I know Cyprus has tuned in, Scotland's tuned in, and Canada and America and Israel, and everybody is here. And Susanna Secret, hello, and there's the UK, and hi Poonam, and Wishing Pool Tarot, hello my loves, hello, this is wonderful. I don't know what happened before. Before I started, it froze, and it was like I was going, and nothing happened, and I'm going click, 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 and nothing happened. But here we are. So how are we all? And I want to answer Christine, who put a message up first about, basically, let's do this. Let's try and generate some energy into peace and harmony and love and all those amazing things. Oh, Wishing Pool Tarot. Yes, the orb video. Wasn't that weird? And someone said they also saw shadowy figures in it, but I'll have to go back and have a look because I didn't notice that. So, see me, hello. Oh dear. And who else is here? Essence Joy, Sil, always good to see you here. So this week, coming up, the 20th till the 26th of July, how are these months going by like this? They're just kind of like zoom, another week, another month. Parry, reclaiming of the sacredness of our lives with love and harmony, together with peacefulness. Absolutely, Parry. And, oh, Poonam, you're behind all my videos. Okay. What have I done this week? I did, the new moon has actually gone up today. I recorded that a few days ago, but that's gone up today. And I did Mercury retrograde, and I did another one, but I can't remember. Oh, I know. Uranus, if it makes an aspect to your ascendant, your descendant, your IC or your MC, because they're quite significant. So hopefully you've caught up with some of those. But this week, I'll finally get there. Hang on. Let's get myself together. There we go. Right. This week, this is actually quite an important and powerful astrological week. Hasn't every week been like that this year? This one's no different. But to cope with everything that is trying to unfold, we also have Mercury retrograde saying, let's slow down. Let's go back and just have a little think about this. But remember, course directions are timely kind of obstacles that the universe will put in front of us to just make sure that we are going in the right direction. So, oh, you've just watched the new moon. Oh, good. Thank you. Great. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And so this week we have the new moon in Leo. And I always think Leo, when it has a new moon and a full moon, is pretty dynamic because the energies are so center stage. And this is a new moon that is really interesting because of all the aspects that is being made, that's being made to the new moon and what else is happening in that chart. And we'll come to that in a minute. But first of all, I want to talk about the first 2 to 3 days of the week, because starting really today, tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday, with it being exact on the 23rd, we have Venus, our planet of relationship, our goddess of love, our planet of finance, the economy, our planet that also represents self-worth, how we feel about ourselves. Now, Venus is currently in Gemini, and this week is moving towards a square. So we know squares are challenging, with Mars in Virgo. Now, Mars, of course, is the masculine. So we've got the feminine and the masculine coming up and kind of, having a bit of a standoff. So what is this all about? But the other thing in this equation is that Mars on, I think, round about Tuesday, Wednesday, is actually conjunct the South Node. Now, that is a really interesting combination. Martinique, well done. Nice to see you. And thank you. Good to see you here. Liz the Iron Maiden. Did it hit you hard, Mercury? Oh my God. I know. It's just like, whoa, it just gets you. And I want to talk a little bit about this energy. I am going to do a separate astrobite for this, but I'll just give you the highlights of Mars conjunct the South Node and Venus in Gemini squaring Mars, because it highlights tension in relationship, in love, desire, but it's also because relationship can be anything. It doesn't have to be that significant heartbeat faster relationship. It can be a significant friendship. It can be a family relationship. It can be a business partnership. But this energy is really going to bring it feels like it's bringing the sludge at the bottom of the pond to the surface to be looked at, dealt with, and let go of. And that's where I see the role of the South Node. Remember, South Node is karma, bringing back or bringing forward, moving it center stage, that which we really do need to pay attention to. As usual, I've got cat hairs all over me and I'm fidgeting and scratching, and I'll be all right in a minute. I'll settle down in a minute. So let's just have a look at this. Let's see it like an onion. Let's unpeel this onion, because, you've got Mars, which is mental agility, especially in Virgo, where it is focused on the detail and the minutiae of what's going on. And the karmic side of the South Node in Virgo is, I think about our feelings as to whether we have been good enough in the past, whether we have paid our dues, whether we have actually been of service to the all of the all, to the planet. Because ultimately, if we are not giving of ourselves back to our home, our planet, then if we're treating it like a rubbish tip, which sadly seems to go on a lot, then it just makes a nonsense of it all. Beth, you're saying you've been fed up with everything lately. And Craftomatic, your Aquarius sun. And, so, and what degree is your sun, Craftomatic? Because, of course, remember, with the new moon that I'm going to talk about in a minute, it's opposite retrograde Pluto in Aquarius. So it could be an incredibly powerful new moon for you. Anyone with, I'll come to that in a minute. I'm rushing ahead. I'm doing what I always do. So let's just have a think about, let's start with Venus, because Venus is in Gemini. Moving forward, she's love, value, attraction, beauty. In Gemini, she's a bit of a flirt. She is a bit of a mischief maker. She needs mental stimulation to show her love, if you like. And will be using her words in a very clever and interesting way. But Gemini, remember, is mutable and air. So Venus in Gemini can come across as being a little detached and not really fully connecting or connected to another. Now, the square with Mars, who's in Virgo, is a little bit like, the square with Mars is a little bit like, we have to sometimes actually stand up and make sure that we really can honor our own inner masculine, because Venus can represent the inner feminine as much as Mars can represent the inner masculine. Where is in you your feminine and masculine sides not connecting, not getting it? I mean, I'm seeing that Simi is saying you haven't been able to make any decisions of any kind this week. And you don't know Craftomatic. Oh dear, okay. I tell you what, Craftomatic, if you just tell me your date of birth, I can give you a rough idea of what degree your sun is at, because I just had to look in here and it will tell me. So what I'm saying is Venus is attracted by mental stimulation. Mars has really got to prove himself in Virgo, and Venus, I think, is going to get bored very quickly, hence the square. Hence, Mars is saying, hey, but, you know, I'm the love of your life that's come back. Karma, karmic, the South Node, you know, this something from the past coming back. And of course, with the Mercury retrograde, we can also have that element there of something from the past comes back. February the 11th, 1959. Well, I'm not going to look up the year. I'm just going to look up February the 11th, because that tells me more or less what I need to know. So, whoops, bear with me a minute. And so February the 11th, so actually your sun is at 21 degrees roughly of Aquarius. So it's absolutely nowhere near Pluto. You won't be having that energy for another like 15, 16 years. So you don't really have to worry about it. So your sun, 17 degrees, Liz, the Iron Maiden. You've got your moon and Venus and Jupiter in Gemini, Janice. Wow. What about May 16th? What, the sun? Because that's my birthday. My sun is at 24 degrees of Taurus. So 24 degrees is about May the 16th. And let's see, in Essence of Joy, you've just seen that you've got Venus conjunct Mars in the 7th house in Gemini. Is that natally, Essence Joy? So yeah, Liz, don't worry. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So I think what we mustn't lose sight of is Mars has a lot of willpower and wants action, and it has the desire. So it has the sexual desire for Venus in Gemini, who's being a little bit difficult and a little bit tough to pin down. And I think what we have to look at is the metaphor of this. Because if we look at the metaphor of trying to pin down the feminine, I mean, of course, the feminine is something that you can't really pin down because it is an expression, whereas Mars is much more rooted in fire, in the ground, and Venus has her claim to being rooted in earth through, of course, her rulership of Taurus, which is an earth sign and fixed. But of course, remember, Venus also rules Libra, which is an air sign, but cardinal. So we've got all these different layers because Mars, of course, rules Aries, which is cardinal. It's in Virgo, which is earth and flexible. So we've got a bit of a mismatch with the energies. This is a bit like your your first or second date with someone, and you're finding out that actually neither of you have really got very much in common, because that's really Mars squared Venus in Gemini, that you haven't got a lot in common. But there's something karmic here that has to be worked through. Now, only you can work out what that means. But it can also be that situations occur that make you look again at your struggles around expressing anger. Maybe this reflects in past life memories that come through in dreams, where you are looking for a way out to somehow make sense of this energy. So that what happens with Mars conjunct the South Node in Virgo is that there's a tendency to act from anxiety rather than passion or the heart, which of course is Aries or Leo. And we are moving ever so slowly towards Leo season, because Leo comes this week. It comes, I think the sun moves into Leo on I think it's on Tuesday. So, we have got Leo energy really waiting in the wings for us. So, Simi, you're talking about someone who's 58, and they will, of course, be on their second Saturn return. Regina, hello. You're recovering from COVID. Oh my God, you poor love. I'm so sorry. I hope you're feeling better. We've got a lot of it here in Malta and Gozo, apparently. And I'm just like, oh, well, whatever. What can we do? I think that the trouble is the word instills fear in us all, which is so silly, because I don't think it's anything terrible anymore. At least, hang on, I'll touch wood. At least we hope it isn't. Are you off to the beach, Andy? Fantastic. Have a fabulous time. Hi, Christine. Take a huge overview of events. The old leadership are having a problem letting go. Yes. Thank you for getting me on track, Christine. That is a very, very good point to bring in, because, you could say that Mars, in a sense, represents the old order because it's the masculine, and Venus represents the new order, which is working its way to becoming much more flexible and thoughtful and caring. Because I think what is sadly lacking in the world at the moment is compassion and empathy. It's there. It is there. Unfortunately, it seems to be, from my observations of the bits of news that I see, that compassion and empathy, unless it comes within the boundaries of the toes the party line, you can be sympathetic and have compassion, but it has to be under a certain umbrella. It seems to be difficult. And I talk about this a little bit in the new moon video, because one of you left a comment, I think it was the new moon video, or one of them anyway, saying something about wokeism, and that wokeism is dying. And I really do feel, and let's see whether that gets through the censors, but I really do feel we have to move beyond that. It went absolutely bonkers, because there is, it would appear, no freedom of speech. If I, on an astrology channel on YouTube, have to be constantly checking what I'm going to say, I've learned to not swear. I've done very well with that, and I've learned to not swear or utter profanities, but I still have to be super careful about the words I use. Well, as we know, that is not freedom of speech. And What's this, Liz? Us women need to reconnect with our divine feminine energy. Absolutely. Yes, Martinique, compassion is being made to be a weakness. Christine, feminine energy will have a lot of power to change things. Trust yourself and do it anyway. It's like feel the fear and do it anyway, isn't it? Wishing Pool Tarot, you're noticing a lot of exposure, like the Salt Path book. Yes, Revelations and the CEO of Astronomy. Yes, getting caught on camera. Manuela from Germany, hot Germany. Oh, it's very hot here, thank you. This week, we're going into a mega heat wave. We're going up in the 43, 44 Celsius range, which for those of you that are in Fahrenheit, we're looking at 110, 115 Fahrenheit. So I will be staying in with the blinds down, the air conditioning on, and hoping, like anything, that we don't get any power cuts, because that's what happens, because the infrastructure can't support the amount of demand on it. But that's another story. And so what I want to say is, there is something also, because you see, if we go too much to the feminine, to the divine feminine, we're also in danger of again being out of sync and out of balance. And what we have to do is integrate. We have to find a way to integrate, to meld together, to melt together the positives of the divine masculine with the positives of the divine feminine, at the same point understanding and accepting the fact that on one level, with that, you always have the shadow. We cannot have just positive. It's about the duality. And of course, Gemini, with Venus in Gemini at the moment, is underlining duality, because we have light and dark, good and bad, heaven and hell. I'm just using these as examples. There is always going to be duality in the world. You look at the night sky and you will see a star. You know, wouldn't it be interesting or strange if there were no stars, if there was just darkness, if we had just our sun and our moon? How weird would that be? But I think that there's something here with Venus about the curiosity that Gemini has. And I believe or feel that astrologically, as Christine has pointed out, we're moving towards a time where the old order, let's just talk about it in these terms, the old order are, hi Annabelle, the old order is in its death throes. Now, how long that lasts, I'm not entirely sure, but I actually think by 2027, we will be coming out the other side. Now, I'm not sure what that's going to look like or what that will feel like, but I do feel that these changes will manifest. I don't see how they can't, because I think there's only so much humankind can take. And I suppose what we have to do is, it seems sometimes as if when we watch all these things on the news and we see all the suffering and the heartache and the destruction and death, that we're not allowed to feel content, happy, have love, feel positive, but we don't actually serve the people that are suffering by suffering ourselves. We have to stay on the frequency of peace, harmony, and recognize that, and this too will pass. Let's just remind ourselves that the last time Uranus was in Gemini, I think this is right, yeah, the Berlin Wall came down. We are going to experience, I do feel in the next 7 years, certainly, but I think we're going to see it either this year, next year, or the latest 2027. We're going to see the metaphor of that. Something similar will be unfolding. That is my sense. And I'm just seeing that you've got hot, humid weather in the UK and Scotland. Oh, Annabelle, your doggy. She overdid the walking. Oh, I'm always doing that too. I limp all the time. Hello, Brandy. Good to see you here. Thank you for joining us. Christine, I like reading your comments. I love reading all of your comments. Christine is keeping me on track tonight. We have to become intellectual in the way we consider how to approach events that are unfolding. We are going through huge transformations and it's affecting our physicality. Have no fear, go forward. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah. And, you know, I do think one of the things we have to watch out for with this configuration is falling back into people pleasing. That can sometimes be Venus in Gemini. So maybe if you've got Venus in Gemini natally, you have to kind of have a think, do I people please? Do I do that? Do I try and keep everybody happy? Because Venus in Gemini is like happy, happy, happy. Let's keep it all buoyant and nice and let's not go too deep. And so it's difficult. It's difficult. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that because I want to talk about the new moon because this really is such a powerful new moon. And I am going to do an astrobite about the South Node Mars conjunction squaring Venus. I'll do that tomorrow or the next day. Now, on the 24th, we have, which is the day before the new moon, depending on where you are on the planet. But for us in Europe, the new moon is actually on the 25th, early in the morning. But for many of you over in the United States and Canada, South America, it'll be on the 24th. But on the 24th, first of all, we have to look at the fact that the sun that rules Leo, that has now gone into Leo, so the sun goes in on the, I think it's the 22nd. By the 24th, it's at 2 degrees of Leo, and it's in an exact opposition to Pluto. Now, that opposition grows because it's part of the configuration for the new moon. Now, this is extraordinary energy and very powerful. And we have to remember the sun is the masculine. It's a leader. It's opposite retrograde Pluto in Aquarius. Okay, what's come into me is what is going to be revealed about a leader that is difficult to digest. I'm thinking that because the moon is hot on the heels of the sun, because the next morning we get the new moon. And the moon, of course, is feeding, nurturing, intuition, the feminine again. So, yes, Christine, we have to find our own way individually to, well, you know, to empower the feminine. Yes. No, Poonam, don't go back to people pleasing. Was it 1989, the Berlin Wall? Thank you. Yeah. And I think, and I'm pretty certain, because I've just done the videos, I ought to remember that Uranus was in Gemini. And oh, thank you, Manuela. Yes, please like, subscribe, and what else do you? Oh, remember, if you want to book a session with me, you know, I'm actually fairly free-ish at the moment, so I've only got a few appointments. So if anyone wants a first reading or a follow-up, email me and we'll sort it out. penny@pennydix.com. And Christine, you're saying struggles are situations that can be solved. Apply the masculine logic and you'll find the solution. That's a very good point. And Annabelle, oh, you enjoyed our visit to Medina. The trouble is, Annabelle, we weren't sure whether we should post it because the sound is dreadful. And I just think we're wittering and talking absolute rubbish, but quite a few people have watched it. So this is my other channel, Channeling with Penny and Sarah, Channeling and Stranger Things. I uploaded a video yesterday, which was a day Sarah and I had at Medina, which is the walled city in Malta. And they had a medieval festival day. So go and check it out if you want to laugh, because it is quite amusing. And yes, and comment. Thank you, Craftomatic. You'll be emailing me. Okay, Poonam, I look forward to it. So let's just think about this Sun in Leo trine is, well, the Sun is opposite Pluto, but also it's trining Neptune and Saturn. So we've got a lot going on this week. Oh, Katie, thank you. I think I'm feeling better. It's 9 weeks tomorrow since I had the shoulder surgery. And I don't know if you can see, but I've just got can't really see it. There's a very tiny little hole, but can't see it. I think that's it there, little dent. But anyway, let's have a look. Liz the Iron Maiden. Do you think the sexes have been forced into energy confusion, especially since women's lib? And that's for Christine. So, Christine, let us know what you think. And Cyprus has just announced a huge increase in COVID due to tourism. Well, we have got a big influx of it here. I'm meeting a lot of people that have it. Let's have a look. Oh, really? That's interesting, Annabelle. So a leader being exposed, another lady mentioned that. And actually, what's interesting is I noticed that I was just looking at the headlines, and I see that our orange figurehead in the United States has been diagnosed with this. It is quite common in over 70s, but it's a varicose vein problem where the blood isn't flowing well enough through the veins, something venous, something or other. And, you know, I thought, oh, well, maybe that's part of what's going on, because, and I can't remember now which sign rules blood, but the Sun is the heart and Leo is the heart. So, of course, we've got that heart energy, heart-centered energy. And what we have to look at is the new moon. Let's look at the new moon. Oh, Annabelle, I've got a nice color. Well, this, whatever my arms and chest look like, is natural tan from the odd times I go for a swim, which is not a lot, but I do. And the face is makeup. So, Cosmic BL, your spouse's sun is at 22 in Aquarius and moon at 23, and Uranus at 19, both in Leo. Woo! So ankles are Aquarius. Oh, that's interesting, Craftomatic. Thank you. So, Regina, Mars. What were we talking about with Mars? I can't remember. I'm losing the thread. Sandy, yes. Hello. Good to see you. We're all having a wonderful weekend, I think. So let's have a look at this new moon, because it is an interesting new moon, because the actual degree is, and this has given me the wrong, oh, here it is. The actual degree is about 2 degrees and 8 minutes. And remember, the beginning and endings of signs are always a little bit more powerful. They've got more energy. And Leo is a sign of energy. And because it's fixed, it's quite contained, directed energy. It's fire. But this is controlled fire. This is fire that fires of passion and feeling passionate about something or someone. Mars is blood. Yes, thank you, Regina. Uranus cycle, Sharon, yes, is every 84 years. Uranus in Gemini would have been closer to World War. Yeah, it was World War II. What was it? I wonder what it was that was happening in. Oh, I know. Maybe it was Saturn and Neptune conjunct. I can't remember. I'll have to look back through all my notes, but I can't remember. There is a particular aspect that we've got now, have just had, that happened with the fall of the Berlin Wall. Oh, thank you, Annabelle. Oh yes, I have to do an eye makeup tutorial. Katie, you've got Uranus transiting over your natal Saturn at 0 degrees of Gemini in your first house. You've embraced box braids. Not sure what else it will bring. Well, change. You're going to really shock people awake. I think it's going to be very interesting. Always go to the light. Yes, Christine. So Simi's saying, so Penny, this week all shadows will come to light. Could make for an interesting week. Yeah, I do think that. I think there is something about things coming out of, out of the shadows, because remember Pluto that is opposite this new moon. Oh gosh, I'm just glowing a bit. I'm getting ever so hot. I think the temperatures are going up. Even though I've got the air conditioning on, I'm glowing. Oh, whew. So remember Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. Pluto rules Scorpio. And so you've got the sign of secrets and secrets revealed. The new moon in Leo, I think, is saying, okay, come on, give it to us. Let's know the truth. Oh, I know what just popped into my mind, but I'm probably wrong. I'm just thinking about the, I probably can't say it on YouTube, but you have to try and read my mind. It's been in the news a lot about the alleged suicide in a prison, which may actually have been not that, because maybe the person was whisked away by the CIA and things like that. But that's just me going through my, fantasies, because this is for entertainment purposes only. And the death throes are going to be sharp and swift. We have to accept the changes. Yes. Yes, 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 yes to everybody. Hi, Jim. Good to see you here. You're listening and learning. Oh, lovely. Yeah, I think this new moon is going to be really quite profound, because we've still got that Venus square Mars. So the new moon is kind of sitting in in the middle of this Mars-Venus square. And it's also, of course, the new moon is sextiling Uranus. So there is a sense this week, because remember, the energies of this week are going to be around now. It's just going to be interesting to sit back and watch. And I bet my carrot soup they won't too, Annabelle. Oh, right. Okay. That's interesting, Regina. Go and read the chat. It'll tell you what I'm not saying. Oh dear. Don't you just love it? It's wonderful, isn't it? Now we've also got there are several things we have to just remember and reflect on with this new moon, because there is a lot going on. And there's a configuration that some people call a cradle. Some people, oh, bless you, Liz, the Iron Maiden. Thank you. Some people call it a cradle. Some people call it a basket. But you've got the new moon opposite Pluto, and then you've got Pluto sextiling Saturn and Neptune retrograde in Aries. And then they are sextiling Uranus, and Uranus is sextiling the new moon. So you've got this kind of shape. And this is what's come to me. Oh my God, isn't it fascinating what comes to you? I suddenly had the image of the basket that Moses was hidden in on the River Nile, and was then found by, I think, an Egyptian princess who took him into the household, and he was raised as an Egyptian prince. And that just came into my mind as I was thinking about that. Well, of course, he became a great leader, and he was a little bit like he was the joker in the pack. He was the magpie in the nest, and that wasn't really seen or or discovered until almost too late. And of course, he actually led the Egyptians ultimately to, yes, the daughter of the king found him in the river, yes, and he led the Egyptians basically to their death. But I think what's interesting is, do we have, let's use the word mole. Is there a mole somewhere in one of these courts of the land around the world who is going to be ousted, or who is going to come out and be the person that actually brings about the start of the change, brings the breakdown, the Uranus energy of breakdown? Uranus is also trining Pluto. So Uranus is sextile. So these are good aspects, right? So I think there's something here about a mole, a magpie in the nest. Now, if we brought this down to, say, a personal level, we could say, just make sure that those that you think are on your team really are. Make sure there isn't somebody that you have been super kind and nice to who actually doesn't have your best interests at heart, because that would be how it would play out on a kind of lower level, something like that. What are you saying about the Day of Atonement? 7 weeks in South Carolina. Hi, Liz. Pluto in your Cappy Moon transit was rough. Of course it is. God, yes. Yes, Passover. Yes, Sil, that's right. It's Passover. Christine, absolutely. Christine sending lots of power to all of the soul fam. We need to fight the fight. We need to be strong and power forward, all embracing to change the world as to how we all want it to be. Yes, so-called friends see me. You know, sometimes our closest friends turn out to actually be our enemies, our hidden enemies. And a Moses basket. Yes, we have to think about that. And I do find that, you know, super interesting. So you see, the energy of this new moon is around all week. We are going to be in the, someone had their popular TV show cancelled. Was that the, let me see, what do I call her? The Mrs. Simpson lookalike who looked like Edward who abdicated his wife. I think you know what I mean. You get the gist of it. Let's have a look. Pretend friends. Yes, there's pretend friends. Yes. You've had to call time on a friendship, Annabelle. Too many boundaries crossed. Yeah, very forgiving, but you'll walk away when you need to. The Exodus. Yes, Sil. Absolutely, the Exodus. Do you know, I loved the Old Testament. I don't know about anybody else, but, you know, when I was at school and we were taught, you know, religious studies or divinity or whatever it's called in school now, I really enjoyed the Old Testament much more than the New Testament because I loved the stories and they were so dramatic and so passionate and they made so much sense. And would that include personal relationships with partners? I don't know. If the cap fits, only you can know that. Blondie, Bindi, or Barbie, something like that. That sounds good. You believe the big house will implode from within. I like that, Regina. I like that. Yes. I think we might see quite a lot of that. What's Parry saying? Practice discernment and boundaries with respect for you and your own personal self-care. Absolutely. Liz, yeah, you have to be true to yourself. And oh gosh, you're going too fast. The Exodus. Yes, I've got very good friends. My longtime best friend, love of my life, everything is Jewish. And I love him to bits. And yeah. So let's see. What else have we got here? Yeah, keep stories going from generation to generation. We are a chatty bunch today. Yes, we are. I know a lot about the Old Testament. Yeah, I know an awful lot. And I'm going to come on now to the word for the week because time is marching on and we must leave room for the tarot. We must do these. But I'm just so interesting with, Zion, yes, and rivers of Babylon and all of that. Real friends will make the effort to understand and respect boundaries. Yes, that's true. That is very true. That's so true. I've had this word before that I'm going to have for the week ahead, but I'm going to do it again because I think it's always good to be reminded. Because we've got this connection between Mars and the South Node, I thought karma would be a good word to reflect on again and have a look at quotes again that represent karma. So, because I think with this South Node that is coming into the sort of theatre of operations this week, we have to explore the concept of karma. And I think, and I'm thinking about some of the things you've been saying, Christine, but you know, if we think about at the end of the day, you know, right always wins and the positive always shines and light overcomes darkness. I think that the implosion that can happen in certain power bases and the karmic debts that need to be paid, redressed, and everything. So we didn't have a word last week, Cosmic BL, because I watched the Wimbledon final, which actually was a bit disappointing. I mean, it was quite a good match and Sinner won, but it just wasn't a great match. But anyway, I had a night off, so here we are. You sure hope karma comes this week, see me, to show you who and who to trust. You've got the Seven of Swords. Whoa, that could be a bit karma-ish, couldn't it? Actually, yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, I'm getting there in a minute because I'm going to do the word for the week first. So karma. Wayne Dyer said, "How people treat you is their karma. How you react is yours." I think that's a timely reminder. Edwin Hubble Chapin said, "Every action of our lives touches on some chord that will vibrate in eternity." Well, that's us told, isn't it? Sadhguru said, "Karma, when properly understood, is just the mechanics through which consciousness manifests." That's beautiful. I like that. So you watched the match too. No, karma, I think, will remember. We are strong, Janice. Yes. You could hand some out, could you, Katie? Right. Now we've got looking at karma as a soul learning. So these are 3 quotes to do with soul learning and direction. So we've got Thich Nhat Hanh, who said, "Karma is not punishment or reward. It is the natural consequence of your actions, thoughts, and intentions." And of course, that is so true. We reap what we sow. And that is the way it works. And Stephen Forrest, who is an evolutionary astrologer, lovely, lovely astrologer, and he's written some good books. The law of karma is not about retribution, but about the opportunity to learn and evolve. Oh my goodness, how true that is. That is so true. And there's an unknown one here, which is karma is the unconscious repetition of past choices. Evolution begins when we become conscious of them. And that's true, because once we are conscious, we cannot become unconscious again. We cannot forget what we have learnt, what we have been made aware of, what has come into our conscious awareness. We cannot get rid of that. I always remember when I was, a patient in therapy many years ago when I was training as a therapist, and I would say to my therapist, well, how is you just telling me this and what you've said about me? How is that going to change anything? He said, because you're aware now. I've made you aware. You have become aware of this part of you. And it took me a while to understand the concept of that. But the fact that he said that to me has helped me to understand that once you know something, once you see something, like once you see someone as they truly are, you can't unsee it. You can't wind the clock back and go back. Like the poor wife that saw that viral video of her husband hugging the HR woman. What could we say? So, karma and responsibility. So Erica Williams said, you cannot do harm to someone because someone has done harm to you, because otherwise you will pay just like they will. So this is like turn the other cheek, isn't it? Do not, do unto others as you would be done by. Don't do to others what you don't want done to yourself, because that is not clever. And the Dalai Lama said, as long as karma exists, the world changes. There will always be karma to be taken care of. And I guess that is a truth too. And Marjaya Sati Bhagavati said, when you plant a seed of love, it is you that blossoms. And this is what they, whoever they are, suggest, that when we are uncomfortable about something or someone, when maybe we have a friend who we feel, I don't know, isn't what we expected them to be, we actually have to bombard that connection with love. And I'm not talking about the woo-woo, la-la, send them love and light, because that is crass. It's actually about real heartfelt love and just thinking, I just send love because I don't want to go into maybe feelings they are showing towards me of perhaps unconscious envy, for example, jealousy. I will just show my love on an inner level, know that a little bit like, and we are getting religious as we do on a Saturday, but when Christ, bless him, was on the cross and they were, they were, watching him die, and he actually cried out to God and said, bless them, Father, for they know not what they do. And that is the whole point. And I've gone all goosey as I said that, because it's true. Bless the people that you feel undermine you, because what they don't realize is it's going to bounce back on them. So actually, if we just get into that mindset of, let me bless these people, let me bless this person. It's not about being megalomaniac or some cult leader. It's just about turning the other cheek and being the better person, being the bigger person. And then we've got 3 quotes which are about karma as energy or echo. And there's an anonymous one here, which is, karma is like a boomerang. Whatever you give out will come back to you. So that's why with someone that you perhaps feel is not on your team, and maybe you thought they were, but actually they never were, just actually send them the power of love, because they don't understand why they do what they do. So you could almost say they don't have responsibility over what they're doing, but they will find out because it will come back on them. And there's another unknown one here, because this is, karma is the universe's way of making sure you learn your lessons. And finally, we've got another one, which is, everything you do has a consequence. It may not come back today or tomorrow, but come back. Eventually, it will. So, that's really, I think that's quite a good word for this week, because I think if we reflect on that Mars-Venus energy, sometimes it's quite good to, think about these planets and meditate with them, in harmony with them, and say, Mars in Virgo, conjunct the South Node in my, I don't know, 7th house or wherever it might be in your chart. What do you want to teach me? What do you want me to let go of? Where do you want me to grow? Because, sometimes we forget to ask the cosmos to show us how to change, how to grow. And what goes around comes around. Absolutely. Let it be a nice card, Liz. I know. Well, Wishing Pool Tarot had the 7 of Swords. So it's that one. Oh, I think we're going to like this one. I think this is Karma Repaired. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? The 2 of Cups. I think that's fabulous. This is union. And I think the 2 of Cups in some ways is that Venus in Gemini. And also it's what we've been talking about today, the harmony, the connection, the marriage of the masculine and the feminine. And somehow knowing that, and this too shall pass. And these will, it's the, at the end of all our searching, we will come back to where we started, but know the place for the first time. Yes, Annabelle, all the planet is suffering. And you know what? I think probably in every generation it does. I think it's just a very patient planet. But I think it might be getting a little bit knocked with us. I just want to see what some of you, thank you, Jim. Ask. If we don't ask, we don't get. 2 of Cups, Iron Maiden, yeah. And someone else pulled a card. Cosmic BL, your card is vegetation, growth. I think we can get a lot of spiritual and psychological growth through the new moon in Leo this week. And Craftomatic, you'll say you're going to email me. Okay, fine. Look forward to reading it. Penny@pennydix.com. Julia, the scales will balance. But it is going to be painful to get there, because it always is. And nothing worth having is necessarily comes easy, does it? That's the problem, really. Planet getting antsy. I like that, Jim. Yeah, I think it is. But this is lovely. And I think this is also, remember Leo, which we're about to move into Leo season, is about love affairs and romance. And maybe it's about just having some fun and creativity. And, I think this is a nice new moon we've got coming this week. I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be lovely. I just think it'll be interesting. So the vegetation card, adapt to the unknown. Nice. Instinctive perception. Watch where you step. Okay. And so Wishing Pool Tarot had the 7 of Swords. So the 7 of Swords, of course, is about, it's the frustrations. I think you could say that the 7 of Swords is where we are or have been. And this is what's going to emerge this week. That's what I would say. Your daughter-in-law's birthday is on Friday, so she's a Leo. And on the new moon, that's awesome, because she's only a day after the new moon. In fact, her solar return is probably on the new moon. So that's going to be a really positive year ahead for her, I would say. And you've got the Hanged Man. Things will come to light. That's those secrets being revealed, isn't it? And let me see, is anybody else saying anything before we bring matters to a close today? And let's have a look. Parry, simply be present with kindness. Yes, all the time, Parry. And hello, Emo. Good to see you here. Love to you. Love to all of you. And, thank you, everybody, for all the support you give me, for coming here, for doing this crazy hour that we have. Christine, yes, we need to consolidate our energy. And Christine is right. And I do think we need to, as Pam Gregory talks about in her videos, do this ritual of daily meditation. And she chooses the time of 7 o'clock UK time every evening. And you'll have to adjust for your place on the planet. But I think the power of a whole planet. You think of, say, how many subscribers I've got, how many Pam's got. She's got about 10 times as many as mine. But what I'm saying is she is encouraging people to all connect on that level. And the more of us that do it, it works. It has an effect. It goes out there. It ripples. Every thought, every little frequency of energy has an effect. And yes, love to you, Jim. Love to you, Christine. Love to everybody. The cats, they're quiet. The heat, yes, but they're all fine. They're all around somewhere. I don't know what they're doing. Sleeping. So listen, guys, thank you so much for being here. I will be back next week. That is the intention. So I should be here. And then, can you believe the following week on the Friday is the 1st of August, and I will be doing my live month ahead. I mean, how did that happen? Georgie, my lovely Georgie, my George Chin. I love my George Chin, pussycat. Oh, thank you, Simi. I love this. It's wonderful, isn't it? It's great. George is chatting to BM. Yeah, that's right. Oh, you're welcome, Liz. You had a great moment of clarity, Craftomatic, as a result of this live. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, I'm so pleased. That's what I really intend for all of you, that things that I say in my videos, in my lives, help you grow, help you become aware, because sometimes it's just that odd little thing that gets said that we go, whoa, and we wake up. Is it your birthday in August? So you're a Leo baby or a Virgo baby, a Leo baby. And so thank you. I am going to go now, and it is ever so hot, and I'm going to go and have some supper. And your son's birthday Saturday. Happy birthday to your son. Happy birthday, Annabelle. Yeah, take care, everyone. Keep all the lurgies away from you, no horrible C word, and ignore the vegetable soup across the ocean. That's just, that'll boil over and boil away probably, because all things pass. Everything passes. Nothing is permanent. Everything changes. And, well, thank goodness for that, because that's the fact, isn't it? Everything changes. On that note, I'm going to go. Have a great day. Have a great evening. I will see you very soon. Bye, guys. Bye. Bye.